Hello, and welcome to another episode of Live from My Watch. My name is Stephen Biller, also known as StonerSteve. Today, I'm going to be cooking an afternoon lunch of scrambled eggs and buttered toast in the air fryer, and just be chatting about, life and whatnot. Here's a friendly reminder. If you are listening to this audio podcast, that's amazing. Please do share with someone. And if you would like to see more, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@StonerSteve. I am filming myself right now while I record this episode, so you can watch the whole process of me making lunch while recording a podcast. It's just a little kind of bonus to the episode. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First things first, gotta wash hands. Ready for some ASMR? Did you know if you sing the ABC song while you're washing your hands, including the ending where it says, "Now I know my ABCs," that is the 20 seconds that you need. The ABC song is the 20 seconds you need to wash your hands. Yeah, just a little fact. Okay, let's see what we've got going on next. I think we can scramble the eggs. This is kind of a first for Live from My Watch, doing an activity like this, but my producer said we have to keep people engaged. So, here we are. Awesome. Actually, you know me. First things first, we have to make a drink. Let's do it. I am going to use what did I have in here last? What the Elf. That's my mug. It says What the Elf on it. It's a Christmas pun. Kind of a thinker. Maybe you don't get it. It's cool. Yes. What is our topic of the day? Topic of the day. Expectation. Expectation. A few weeks ago, we talked about fear and how fear can affect our lives, sometimes in ways we don't even think about. Today I want to talk about how expectations can have an effect on our lives, often in ways we don't even think about. Most of my life, I was looking for perfection from myself. I had it in my head that there was a perfect way to be. But there's not, is there? There's not a perfect way to be. Because perfect would imply Well, it's really just another word for normal from a certain perspective. All right, so I've put some apple cider into a mug. I'm going to use the microwave for a quick heat up. And it's off. While waiting on my apple cider, we can go ahead and start whisking up the eggs. Can I crack this egg with one hand? Let's find out. And I did, but not without getting some shell into the bowl. I'm using 1/2 of the eggshell to try to scoop out the little piece that's in there, and I got it. I don't know why, but supposedly that works. You use the shell to try to get the other shell. I don't know. Okay, let's do this again. Ready? Let's do some ASMR this time. Ready? How was that? All right. Just adjusting the exposure on my camera. Give me a sec. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So we were talking about perfection. Normal. All of these have opposites. You know? Perfect is... What's some opposites? You know, some words that would mean the opposite of perfect. You know, imperfect, of course, but that's kind of cheating, you know? I think you'd have to look at some specific stuff. You know? What are you saying that you are not perfect at? Playing soccer? Painting? Being a neighbor? There's so many things for us to try to be perfect at in life. But why? Why are we trying to be perfect? I've got a whisk here. Just gonna whisk up the eggs. Now, some people that have a really good pan, they can heat the pan up with the eggs in it, so that, and they say it helps them to stay fluffy, and I don't know what all, but I don't have that that option. Yeah, I don't have that option because I've just got like a little pan that was kind of nice when I first got it, but has since proven to be, well, it hasn't aged well. It's a copper pan. The color really drew me to it, and I'd never used a copper pan before, so I didn't really know what to expect. And it just, the finish slowly like chips away or burns or I don't know what, but you have to use more and more oil on it. So trying to put my eggs in there and worry about scrambling them at the same time, I mean, no, thank you. So what I do is I just put it on medium high to high heat, and I like to cook with butter. My partner's family is Norwegian, so butter is a big part of that heritage, and after I got into that family, I started using more butter, and it's delicious. I love it. You know, you have to have fat when you're cooking. So I just replaced butter. I replaced some other, like canola oil and stuff that I used to use, which really isn't that healthy for you. got a big old tablespoon of butter in the pan, and that can just melt there for a little bit. While we're waiting on that, let's turn on our air fryer, which we're going to use as an oven. Let's see, temp. That's fine. I'm going at like 350 for 4 minutes. You know, I could probably go a little bit higher. Let's go for like 380. 4 minutes. Start that going. While we're waiting on that, let's butter our bread. It's time for a commercial break. Today's episode is brought to you in part by good old-fashioned churned butter. You just can't beat that fresh butter churned in the morning. Good. And now back to the show. Although today's sponsor is one of today's sponsors is good home churned butter, I'm using store-bought cubes. Cubes, rectangles, blocks, whatever you'd call this shape. Okay, better turn that heat down. My butter is melted, telling me the pan is hot enough. So we will now add our eggs. Ready for the ASMR? Let's go. Unfortunately, the air fryer is generating so much noise you probably couldn't hear anything else. I may have to turn that off for now. I'll start that again in a minute when I'm not recording right next to it. Good catch, producer. Okay, let's go ahead and get this scrambled. Actually, it could sit a little bit longer. So let's return to our topic while we wait on the eggs. Oh, my cider should be ready. And it is. A little sprinkle of cinnamon. And we are off to Cozy Town. Hot apple cider. Delicious. So expectations come from a lot of places. Earliest expectations, of course, come from caregivers. You know, we're talking the basics here, man, as people are like, as humans teach other humans how to live, you know, the expectation of like movement, learning how to walk and move yourself, propel yourself around. You know, learning to recognize certain emotion, like learning to recognize emotions and respond appropriately, you know. And there's lots of studies on this and lots of different ideas on like what is appropriate at different ages, you know, for children to be exhibiting, behavior for children to be exhibiting. You know, there's certain things that, you know, generally people agree on. You know, like by walking by a certain age, potty trained by a certain age, that kind of thing. So from these early developments, like those are expectations that are being put upon you. And I mean, right away, like some of us, you know, fell at it because we can't meet that expectation for, you know, some people physical disability, you know, being differently abled physically or mentally, you know what I mean? These eggs need to be removed from the heat and swirled around a little bit. Scrambled eggs in a pan. So, expectations. So from there, you know, you grow up. At some point, you start having expectations for yourself. Each of us does. And I imagine that starts pretty early. maybe you want to get on, the soccer team or something. I don't know why I keep returning to soccer. It's got to be on my mind for some reason. But let's say, maybe your friends are doing it, and, sometimes people get pressure from parents to do certain things, but not always. Not always. Plenty of us had interest when we were younger that, didn't come from our parents. I've always been very interested in, art and music. And, actually, my parents are both artistic, so maybe that's a bad example. Artistic and musical. So that's a great point, that's part of the philosophy of the discussion that we're having, is the philosophical nature of it, I should say. Are there any expectations that we put upon ourselves that don't come from outside of ourselves? And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Whoa. All right, trying to set some ambiance in here in the studio. I don't know if this is working or not, bro, but we're gonna try. Hi, and welcome back to Live from My Watch. Oh, the internet's only podcast recorded on a smartwatch, as far as we know. Today I am recording from inside my office / living room / art and craft room. Yeah. So the breakfast of eggs and toast turned out fantastic. They lived up to my expectations. Which is the theme for the day. So, oh, hello, cup.
Are you okay?
Yes, I am. My cup is trying to make some folio here. I'm also trying something with a soundtrack. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but if you can hear music, that's what it is. So today we were talking about expectations and how expectations, where they come from. But I have to say, I think that I've decided no matter where expectations come from, that essentially, let me just get comfortable here. Yeah, that's nice. Right. So no matter where expectations come from, they give you this perception that you're supposed to be perfect somehow. And when you internalize that from like a young age, it can just stick with you your whole life. And that's what I've really been unpacking in my own life lately. Is what kind of expectations am I holding on to? Because by the time you reach adulthood, like I have, a decade and a half into adulthood, it doesn't really matter who taught you what or how you came to be whatever. Not for practical purposes, to heal from trauma, maybe it might help to know where things come from. But if you're not being severely impacted by something, it could still be traumatic. So that is a great point. My producer says it's time to go to a break, so let's go. Today's episode is brought to you in part by the gig economy. Get a job, or 4 or 5, won't you? And now back to the show. Sorry, I'm just going to take a little drink here. But yeah, it really doesn't matter where the expectations came from. What really matters for me, practically, in my life, is understanding how these expectations are influencing my decisions, influencing my mood, affecting my behavior even, because if you feel like if you have an expectation that you're supposed to be living a certain way or doing something a certain way, you're always judging yourself because you always have a standard that you're holding yourself up to, which can be a good thing. I'm not arguing that. However, it can also get in the way of your success. It's gotten in the way of my success. Let me put it that way. I really had these ideas of what life was supposed to be like. We all do growing up, I feel like. When you get to adulthood and it just doesn't look the same. The world is not always what you think it is when you're growing up. And that can be really challenging. So understanding these expectations that I'm holding on to, kind of unpacking that, looking into it. Why do I have these expectations? What's going on? From there, I can really start to improve my life. Take away the expectations that no longer are working for me, that are no longer helping me be happy, helping me be successful. And I can replace those with new expectations if I choose. Before I can do new expectations, I really have to take away these old ones so I can see who I am. I saw this comic on mental health recently that I thought was really cool. It said that your mental health journey, working on yourself, self-examining, self-reflection, therapy, journaling, all that kind of stuff. Basically, you're just taking off all of the layers and all the pieces that aren't who you are, and so you can get to know who you've always been. That's underneath all of that. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know, because it's really kind of part of the journey I've been on this past year. Journey of getting to know myself. Producer's saying it's time to go to one more break, so we'll be right back. Before you sit down in your chair, please make sure there's no cat there. Okay, I just got the signal. It's wrap-up time. Part of the show where we sort of try to concisely talk about the things that we've been talking about. And as you can tell, it's going great already. Expectation. You can have expectations for yourself. Just, hold them gently. Make sure you know what your expectations are, both for yourself and for other people. It'll really help you to avoid frustration in life. That's what I've found to be true anyways. Don't aim for perfection. Sometimes having these expectations on ourselves or others, we have this end goal of being perfect. Perfect would imply there's some kind of like normalcy, and it's just, everybody is different. Every single person is different. Our brains are unique with different experiences through our lives that have led to us becoming who we are, the people that we are, and so the coolest thing to do is to get to know yourself. I'm getting to know myself. I encourage you to get to know yourself, like for real, because you're the only person that's ever been there for you. I mean, like 100% of the time. Bruh. Sometimes I do like to think, oh yeah, I have always been here for myself. All right, I've been StonerSteve and will remain StonerSteve through the length of this podcast, which is called Live from My Watch. Thanks for listening. If you haven't yet, head over to YouTube, youtube.com/@StonerSteve, and subscribe. There is a video portion to this podcast that I record on. Okay, that was the goodbye just for the podcast. I wanted to say a special goodbye to you guys on YouTube. I really appreciate you being here. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment, even if you didn't like it. Leave a comment. Tell me what I could do to improve, or tell me what you agreed or disagreed with what I was saying. I'd love to see that in the comments. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, you can find my podcast Live from My Watch, all streaming platforms. The audio quality is much better than on here, but we are improving. I have a mic. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and until next week, I'll see you later. Bye.